Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. This podcast is entitled Lessons from a 90-Year-Old. And as usual, I'll begin this podcast with a quote. Two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not sure about the universe. And that's a quote by Albert Einstein. And this quote can mean a lot of things, but the way I took it to mean was basically something along the lines of a quote that was said by George Shaw, and his youth is wasted on the young. And what I mean by that is, as we go out throughout life and we experience different things, in our youth, we do stupid things and trivial things that are not conducive to the success that we want to achieve in life. And then as we get older and we lose our energy or our ability to, stay up all night or, most of the components of being young, that's when we obtain the wisdom of life and that, the mentality of success. Some people, not all people, there's some people that just at a young age, they have that wisdom or that wherewithal and they just go through life making specific and intentional choices towards their wisdom, largely due to the instruction that they have in their life. But some people don't have that instruction. Some people don't have that, compass at an early age that can direct them to which way they need to go. And they learn largely by, trial and error, which can sometimes make it a longer journey when we're trying to achieve success or achieve ideally what we call success. So that's why he says youth is wasted on the young, because in most cases, or in some cases, by the time you've learned the lesson or you've obtained the wisdom needed to, adequately take life by the horns, you're now at an older age and it kind of seems like things have passed you by, which is not true because it's all about perspective. Some people look back on their life and say, oh, I wish this or I wish that. But again, you can't change the past. All you have is the present, and the future is dependent upon the decisions you make in the present. So looking back doesn't do us any good. It doesn't serve us. All we can do is look at what we got presently, evaluate who we are and what we want to be, that distance between the two, and then move forward. Again, I was conducting research on YouTube. I was just looking through like videos, motivational videos, like things that I could, learn from instead of just trying to, sit and scour through YouTube looking at pointless videos. I try to intentionally look through, YouTube or other sources to find things that could help me out in my life or help me out in my journey, or maybe things that may, change the perspective of the way I look at life and the way I think, trying to just be better day by day in any way. And I stumbled upon this video of like lessons from a 90-year-old, like things that he would pass on to, a younger person or a person, coming up through the ages. And it really got me to thinking, because this is basically what my podcast is based on, or the basis for my podcast. Because as I was a young boy, or as I was growing up, as I've discussed previously, my grandfather would do these one-on-one talks with me. And when he would do these one-on-one talks with me, he would try to impart knowledge, or the knowledge that he's obtained to his age in life, things that he felt that I could benefit from, financial knowledge and instructions on how to be a man and decisions that I should make, and ethical and moral principles that I should stand by, and family first, and all those little lessons that hopefully get instilled in you when you're a child and when you're growing up. And a lot of those lessons I remembered, I took with me. They were ingrained in me. They became the fundamental of who I was as a human being. And unfortunately, a lot of lessons I forgot, because again, youth is wasted on the young, and I was just, in my stupidity. I will say that I took more than I lost, but still there were so many valuable lessons that my grandfather tried to impart on me that I didn't really appreciate at the time. I felt like I knew everything, and I felt like I was on the right path and doing the right thing. So I was full of myself. But as I get older, and go through different situations, I realize that my grandfather was right, which is something that I feel like we all do. Like, mom was right, grandma was right, whoever was right in what they were trying to tell you. Like, their aim wasn't to hurt you, it was only to help you. And I believe that 110% with my grandfather. He was a very, core person in my life, a very central person in my life. And because of the lessons that he taught me, it made some decisions in my life a lot easier. And if I would have listened to what he told me and those lessons that he was trying to impart on me, then things would have gone a whole lot smoother. And there were also some other things that I picked up. His life was a whole lot different than mine. He grew up in a different era. He experienced different, aspects of life that I didn't experience. But I didn't experience some of those aspects of life because he did. He lived that way, so I didn't have to. Or he experienced that and he told me, it's not worth it, or, don't even consider it because it's not going to help you. It's pointless. So my grandfather really, his instruction really helped me become the man I am today. And my hope is that this podcast becomes that for my listeners, especially those that don't have a figure in their life that provides that moral or ethical compass or that foundation for them to build upon as they go throughout life. I hope that my podcast will be that to my listeners, that I can be that voice of reason that teaches you things that you may have not even thought of previously, or that kind of gives you a different perspective in looking at life and the situations that you may go through, because perspective draws reality. And like we've talked about in past podcasts, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who your family is, how much money you got, how much money you don't have. None of that stuff matters. It all matters about your internal composition, meaning what you bring to the table. And with those tools, you can be able to accomplish anything that you set your mind to. It begins with the mentality. And once you make up your mind that you want to achieve something, you want to have something, you want to do something, then it can all be yours. We just have to live intentional lives, which we've talked about earlier in the podcast as well. Meaning, every time you wake up, you do something that furthers your goal. You don't just live life on autopilot. Like, get up, take a shower, go to work, get home from work, watch TV, go to bed. Like, you do things that further what you want in life so that you can obtain the life that you want to live. And if you want to obtain your dreams and goals, it's not something that's going to happen by accident. It's something that's only going to happen by you intentionally living and deciding that this is what you want and this is what you want to have for yourself, for your children, for your family, whatever your reason is that makes you wake up in the morning and live intentionally, whatever your why is. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter podcast. I'm really not going to, go in depth about each one of these things because they're pretty self-explanatory. They speak for themselves. And this is the wisdom of a 90-year-old. This isn't my wisdom. I'm just a vessel that's, giving you this information. There was 49 life lessons that this 90-year-old wanted to impart to us in total. I just shared the top 20, but as usual, I have put the link to this video in the show notes. So if you want to see the rest of the 49, the link will be there. So let's get started. Number 1 is life isn't fair, but it's all good. I feel that that's important, that's number 1. That's awesome. Because that pretty much sums it up. Anything that you face, anything that you have to go against, anything that's challenging you, it is what it is. At the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? It's all about your internal composition. The next one, when in doubt, just take the next small step. Number 3, life is too short not to enjoy it. Number 4, your job won't take care of you when you are sick. Your family and friends will. That's an important one as well, because at the end of the day, we spend a lot of time working and we give a lot of hours to work and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the only thing we're going to have when we're on our deathbed and when we're down and out is going to be our friends and family. You may lose your job, and then all you're going to have is your friends and family. So That's a good one to take to heart. Number 5, don't buy stuff you don't need. Number 6, you don't have to win every argument, so stay true to yourself. Number 7, cry with someone. It's more healing than crying alone. Number 8, it's okay to get angry with God. It's okay to get angry with God. He can take care of it. So at the end of the day, God's not going to get mad at you because he knows that we are human, and to be human is imperfect. We are creatures of emotion. So, get mad if you have to get mad, but just let it be temporary. Don't let it be something that you harbor. Don't let it be something that, changes you. Realize that it's just a moment in life. It's a blink of an eye in the concept of time. That's irrelevant. It won't matter in 5 years, 5 minutes. So just conceptualize it. Prioritize it. Is this anger going to serve you? No. So put it on the back burner. Be angry with who you got to be with. If being angry with God helps you, then whatever. But I don't see much point in it. But if it serves you, if it makes you feel better, then do what you need to do to heal and then move on. Number 9, save things that matter. Number 10, when it comes to chocolate, resistance is futile. This is a 90-year-old talking, so hey, he knows more than I know. Number 11, make peace with the past so it doesn't screw up your present. Number 12, it's okay to let your children see you cry. Number 13, don't compare your life to others. You have no idea what their journey is about. Again, that's like when the episode of my podcast that you control your story, you write your book, your life is yours. You can't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 5. You don't know what they've all been through. You don't know what they've gone through. You don't know their struggle. You don't know what they're struggling with to this day. So you can't compare stories. You just don't know all the information. And it's just going to drive you crazy at the end of the day. Let me see. Number 14. If a relationship has to be secret, you shouldn't be in it. That's he said something there. Number 15. Everything can change in the blink of an eye, but don't worry, God never blinks. Take a deep breath. It calms the mind. That's number 16. 15 and 16, I'm sorry. 17. Get rid of anything that isn't useful. Clutter weighs you down in many ways. That's emotional as well as physical. They say if you're trying to clean your mind or, get focused, declutter your house, declutter your workspace, declutter your environment, because your outward environment reflects your inward environment. So if you're trying to declutter your mind, declutter your environment. Get rid of anything that isn't useful. Clutter weighs you down in many ways. I think we already went over that, but that's okay. I'm following the list. We can all use it twice. Number 18, whatever doesn't kill you really does make you stronger. He said something there. I mean, that's extremely true. I've experienced that one firsthand. I mean, heartbreak, Marine Corps, stuff in high school, all the worst days of my life that I've survived, the worst days that I thought were the worst days of my life that I survived. It's all about perspective. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's never too late to be happy, but it's all up to you and it's not up to anybody else. Basically, you control your happiness. No one else controls your happiness. You control your emotions. Nobody else can make you mad. You choose to be mad. Nobody else can make you unhappy. You choose to be unhappy. Nobody can make you sad. You choose to be sad. It's a choice that you make within yourself. And number 20, when it comes to going after what you want in life, don't take no for an answer. We only have one life to live. And time is always going. Tomorrow's not promised, and it could be our last day on this earth. It could be the last breath that we take. So why spend it doing something that you don't want to do or living a life that you don't want to live? It's not worth it. There's too many people in the graveyard that have suffered that unfortunate fate, living the life that they don't want to live, or living less than what they deserve or what they desire. So, when it comes to getting the life that you want. Like, why not? Don't take no for an answer. If one door is closed, find another door. You know, when I was in the Marine Corps, well, when one of the sayings that I used to say all the time was, you know, if the primary breach fails, always have a secondary. That was something they taught us, you know, because plans always look good on paper until you get to where you got to go, and then something's gonna go wrong. You know, this is just how it is. You know, sometimes plans work, but you always got to be prepared for the option or the reality that something could or may go wrong. So whenever we did a breach, we always had a secondary breach and a tertiary breach sometimes. And if that breach went wrong, the first breach went wrong, we just move to the second one, move to the third one. We always had a plan, you know. So if somebody says no to you, that's just no to that direction or that moment in time. That doesn't mean no indefinitely or no forever. That just means no to that avenue. And there's multiple avenues. There's many other avenues. And depending on how bad you want it, you know, just keep getting after it. Keep going. Because again, life and what you experience in life and how you go through things in life is about your internal composition. It's not about anything external. You know, it's not about people. It's not about circumstances. It's not about experiences. It's about your internal composition, how you deal with those people, those external circumstances, and those, you know, conditions, those experiences. So again, just going over the list, these are 20 out of the 49 of the lessons that this older gentleman, this 90-year-old gentleman, wanted to pass down to us. And again, I think we can all take a page out of his book. Number 1, life isn't fair, but it's all good. Number 2, when in doubt, just take the next small step. Number 3, life is short. Life is too short not to enjoy it. I apologize. Number 4, your job won't take care of you when you are sick. Your friends and family will. Number 5, don't buy stuff you don't need. Number 6, you don't have to win every argument, so stay true to yourself. Number 7, cry with someone is more healing than crying alone. Number 8, it's okay to get angry with God. He can take it. Number 9, save for things that matter. Tongue twister this morning. Number 10, when it comes to chocolate, resistance is futile. Number 11, make peace with the past so it doesn't screw up your present. Number 12, it's okay to let your children see you cry. Number 13, don't compare your life to others. You have no idea what their journey is about. Number 14, if a relationship has to be a secret, you shouldn't be in it. Number 15, everything can change in the blink of an eye, but don't worry, God never blinks. Number 16, take a deep breath. It calms the mind. Number 17, get rid of anything that isn't useful. Clutter weighs you down in many ways. Number 18, whatever doesn't kill you really does make you stronger. Number 19, it's never too late to be happy, but it's all up to you, no one else. And number 20, when it comes to going after what you want in life, don't take no for an answer. And again, this is to all the younger individuals out there. If you still have grandparents or access to anybody in the older generation, I would just sit down and pick their brains. You know what I'm talking about? That's the same from the Marine Corps. I would just sit down and talk to them. You know, just let them speak. You know, don't speak, just let them speak. Let them impart knowledge on you. Let them tell you about their experiences, their lives, what they've gone through, what they've been through, what they've seen, you know, what they've picked up along the way. Growing up, I didn't know how valuable that time with my grandfather would be. You know, it's invaluable. You can't put a price on it, because the lessons that he taught me have subsequently put me to a higher place in life. Not saying like above anybody else, but again, when I came to those crossroads in life and being young and inexperienced, knowing what I knew from the conversation with my grandfather, it made a lot of decisions easier. You know, they were already made before I even got there. I didn't have to go through the whole process of trial and error and experience it and then make a decision in the moment with my inexperience in my youth. I had the wisdom of my grandfather that he imparted upon me in order to help me to push forward, push through, and make those decisions. Now, he didn't teach me everything there is to know about life. I mean, that's impossible. Nobody knows everything there is to know about life, but he taught me enough. He taught me a lot. And I think that this younger generation could benefit a lot from the lessons that the older generation, has to offer us. I feel that we've lost touch with that relationship, with that connection. And because that connection and that relationship has been severed between generations, the older generation and the younger generation, we're suffering because of lack of knowledge. Because the older generation is a wealth of knowledge. I mean, even down to your parents. It doesn't have to be a 90 or 80-year-old person. It could be your parents, your mom and dad. They have some wisdom that they can impart on you about, some of the hardships of life or the things you're going to experience. If not for any other fact than because they have made bad choices, and they know that because I have gone down this road, I know where it's going to end up. So I'm telling you different, so you don't have to travel down this road and you don't have to experience the hardships and pains that they've experienced. Because at the end of the day, our parents always want what's best for us. Um, you know, that's sometimes that isn't the case, but the exception doesn't beat the rule. Generally, most people's parents want what's best for them. And we need to sit down and talk with our parents. We need to get out of our phones. We need to get off PlayStation, get off the internet, get off Facebook, and just, re-engage, have conversations with people. Call up your grandmothers, call up your grandfathers, and spend time talking with them. Especially now with coronavirus and everything going around, we're losing people left and right, unfortunately. So, I mean, that's knowledge that we're losing. That's experience that we're losing that could be passed down to us, to other generations. So we need to really value the we need to really value interaction, especially with the older generation, because the wisdom that they have that they can impart on us is definitely something that we can use. You can never be too wise. You can always learn something else.